Don't watch the big clock. Do what it does. Keep going.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of Uncut Civilization 6. We are picking up in a very satisfying position. We created Big Ben, the world wonder, when our treasury had about 20,000 gold in it, and it doubled our treasury to a whopping 40,000, and we've been floating in that area for a number of turns, and it feels really amazing. We are currently receiving a large amount of funds from all of the leaders of the world, except for America, because America's probably poor at this point anyway, but because we've been dominating the game. We've been winning all the wars that we've gotten into, and when we take the capital, when we ask for peace, we ask for a little bit of that cash money at the same time. So we're generating 1,692 gold per turn, and it feels so good. But enough of me feeling myself. We still have much work to do. We've got one more capital that needs to be taken out, and that is the capital of our lady friend Catherine de Medici, or whatever. I never learned how to pronounce that. But regardless, we've got to find her capital, and we're going to do so. First of all, we're going to start researching nuclear fission, which will allow us to research the Manhattan Project and build nuclear devices. I think you might know where this is going. But we're currently building a spaceport in Rogel Dorn, and from there, once that's complete, we're going to be able to launch a satellite, which will reveal the entire map, and we'll get to discover where France is without having to slog through all of this mess, or where Paris is specifically. So we won't have to worry about fighting through America and all of the other cities that she no doubt has. And by the way, I do recall that I said I was going to be in a defensive war with Germany. I changed my mind. I took 2 of their cities because why not? They just seemed ripe for the taking. There was a wonder in it, and I like world wonders. What can I say? I've built like 6 or 7 of them, and you know, Petra's pretty cool. Even though, I mean, granted, this city is very poorly optimized, but I'm not really going to get into that. I'll get into it. I'll get into it because it's interesting. Where is it? Here we go. So the city of Cologne, I don't know how to pronounce it, but he built Petra, which gives him plus food, gold, and production on desert tiles, and then he built districts on all of his desert tiles. So literally all of the desert tiles. It's a bit asinine, but yeah. So the AI is stupid, but let's. I'm not gonna worry about that. I'm just gonna, at this point, spread out my trade routes around to different places, kind of at random, but there's a little bit of a method to the madness. Preslav is a good American city to send a trade route to. It's a very long route, but I just want to generate different things. I want to have, you know, people coming in and out from all over the place. I don't want to just focus on one city anymore. I could divert a lot more trade routes to Rogel Dorn, which might actually be a good idea, considering they're the ones building the spaceport and they'll need the production. But I haven't decided yet. Maybe I'll send a couple over there. But with that in mind, though, we're at the end game, folks. We are at the final stages of the game, and there's really, you know, we're winding down in a very big way. And I like this part of Civ a lot. I like the beginning and I like the end of Civ. Those are my 2 favorite parts. The middle bit, it always gets a little bit tense, a little bit tricky, because the middle bit is always a dark time. It's always this portion when you just, you know, I talk about this all the time, when you just don't know if you're gonna come out on top, right? And in the beginning, you know, you're wide-eyed and anything can happen. Yeah, we're gonna transfer this trade route to Rogel Dorn, just because we can squeeze a little bit more production out of it. But yeah, so at the beginning you're wide-eyed and bushy-tailed, and anything can happen. In the middle, you get to a point where maybe I kind of messed up a little bit, so I may end up losing, and you try and work your way out of that, and you finally get out of it. You see the light at the end of the tunnel, and that is what I am seeing right now. I'm seeing a very beautiful, bright, shining light at the end of the tunnel, and oh, it's making me smile so much. It's like, for anybody that's ever played an MMO RPG, it's just like that. When you get to a point where you've been slogging through quest after quest after quest, trying to get max level, and then you finally get to that final. There's always a gauntlet at the end of every RPG or MMO. When you get to the end, all your characters walk into this epic cutscene, and they tell you the story, and all the characters kind of look at each other and they say, "This is the final push, isn't it?" And then the music swells up, and it's all exciting, and that is exactly what I'm feeling right now. And being perfectly honest, I will shed a very, very serious amount of tears if France just sends her people up to Mars before I find her, because there's still that chance that she could do that, and I hope it doesn't happen that way. And we've got these barbarians, I believe, are coming out of Gandhi's cities, because all of the trades that we have going on, we're getting a lot of bonus amenities out of them. I can't even... resources. Here we go. Yeah, we're getting a fuck ton of stuff from the rest of the world. We're basically stealing resources from people and stealing luxuries from people. So most of my cities are at finally either 0 or -1 amenities, and that is going to wear off fairly soon. In the next 20 some odd turns, we're going to be at a point where we are starved for amenities again a little bit, but that's all right. That's all right, because I think we'll be able to finish the game before that's a huge concern. And something I was considering doing is just spamming a mix of Theater Square projects and Commercial Hub projects until the game is over, because that's all I really need. I've got a huge military, and all I need is science at this point. But I don't know. Yeah, I think it's going to be a bit tedious because I don't have a production queue installed. The next time I play a game of Civ, I am most definitely going to start up a production queue, so I don't have to click all this stuff manually. But yeah, it's gonna be a bit of a grind for these next few turns, but it is a very satisfying feeling grind. Let's purchase an amphitheater and an art museum, just erecting these gigantic buildings completely out of gold because we got it like that right now. We literally make enough gold in a single turn to purchase a research lab and a half, and that's insane. That is insane, dude. Oh, it's beautiful. So yeah, it's gonna be a little bit tedious for these next few turns, just going through, clicking on just projects for the different cities. Oh, and just by the way, this particular spy, they've been siphoning funds from Germany and America so successfully for the last 20 some odd turns, and they're part of the reason I had so much gold when it came time for Big Ben to finish producing. So we're going to continue trying to siphon funds from America now, who is apparently generating a pretty significant amount of money in Preslav. That used to be a city-state. I might try and liberate them before I at some point. I don't know. So let's go on to the next turn. Because yeah, that's one thing that I've been, because the AI killed and took over a majority of the city-states in the game. Like Japan took Jakarta, America took Preslav, and a couple of others were taken over as well. I mean, I'm kind of part of the problem. I took over Seoul, but they attacked me first. But it does feel kind of nice to free them up and sort of return the world to its original state. You know, and I'm looking for all kinds of ways to justify a domination victory. I don't know why I feel like domination is kind of the wrong, like there's no right or wrong way to play Civ, but domination does feel like the kind of, it's like, ah, you're being that guy today victory condition, because it's just mean, because it takes the least amount of finesse, if I'm being perfectly honest. It's basically get science, get big military, kill everything. Whereas the other ones just have a little tiny bit more finesse. And there we go. We just purchased all of the buildings that we could purchase in Colony for our Theater Square district. And then we're going to start up a Theater Square festival, which is generating culture and great artist points. There aren't any more great people to recruit except for great musicians. I could just buy them if I wanted to, but I'm not even gonna worry about that. I'm mostly doing it for the extra culture per turn that we can generate. But yeah, I mean, even if, like, for what it's worth, all of the victory conditions to a degree are simple. They're let's just have the most science and generate the fastest science and all that stuff. But there's a little bit more finesse in going for the space race thing, in going for the religious victory. I think religious is, especially in a single player setting, is the most difficult out of all of them, because the AI is very, very pissy about you converting their cities. Like, they get mad at you, whereas sometimes, like, real players don't pay as much attention to it. They see somebody running an apostle around, and it's like, yeah, he's not gonna do that to everybody, and then 20 turns later you lose the game. But with the AI, if you use their charge one time, they're like, get that shit out of my borders right now. I don't know what you thought this is. I don't know what made you believe that you could bring that Lord and Savior Jesus Christ nonsense into my house, but you can't do it. So it's I think, yeah, it's a tricky one to go for. Yeah, that's fine. And the trade route. Yeah, we're sending a lot of trade routes to American cities. We'll send one to Brussels. They've been flip-flopping their suzerain around since the beginning of the game. Same goes for Jerusalem, who is exclusively American at this point. They've got 21 envoys. I could have sniped it away at a long time ago, but I've opted into spreading my envoys around just so I get all the different benefits for them. They're nice. But, in spreading myself too thin and being a social butterfly, I don't have a real best friend. And it's very sad. But that's okay. Who needs friends when you have nuclear fission? Am I right? Yeah, I'm probably right about that.
If you go on with this nuclear arms race, all you're gonna do is make the rubble bounce.
Winston Churchill got a lot of quotes towards the end of the game. So that's nice. We now have access to two things that are very cool. And let's go here we go. The Manhattan Project and build nuclear device. So in order to build nuclear devices, we need to do the project for the Manhattan Project. And I believe Colony is my second best city for production with a grand total of 80. Yeah, so it'll only take 7 turns to do the Manhattan Project, which is not bad at all. And I'm already focusing all of my production on all of my cities, or all of my citizens rather, on production, so there's no way I can optimize this any further. I could go around and check all of my cities to see which one has the most production, but I'm pretty sure Even my capital's like falling real far behind. Ed Victorum is a close third though with 74 production. Now Costa de Iredol's doing very well. Joshua Campos, man, you picked the winner. Yes, we do have a couple of good cities for the Manhattan Project, but we'll stick it in Colony because it does have the highest production next to Rogaldorn. So on that note, we're going to take a little pause until those two projects are complete, because all I'm going to be doing is clicking around in circles until that happens. So we'll be back after these not commercial messages, because we still don't have a sponsor. Anybody trying to sell something? As long as it works, I'll sponsor that shit. No. Oh my fucking goodness. A fucking knight from medieval times, pun intended, just pillaged one of my trade routes. You've got to be kidding. Alright, America gonna capture my spot. Man, look, the shit just kind of hit the fan a little bit. I was on a very high note until this barbarian knight from God knows how many years ago just comes out of nowhere, pillages my trade route, and my spy, he failed his mission. What else could go wrong? I haven't the slightest idea, but I know this thing is about to get shot in the face. I almost wish I didn't have quick combat on right there, because I would have liked to watch him suffer a little bit. Damn it! See, this is what happens, man, when you think you got the boss fight won, and then it's got 2 phases. Don't you hate boss fights with multiple phases? Alright, spy. You're a legend. Try to escape on foot. Yeah! So America found out about the spy, but apparently they couldn't do anything about it, because this is motherfucking James Bond over here. I don't even know where they went. I haven't the slightest idea where that spy is anymore, but they're somewhere, and they got out safely. And that's probably all that really matters. They'll probably make themselves visible in the next turn. I'm going to rename that spy motherfucking James Bond if I can. I cannot abide by a ruler, blah, blah, blah. He thinks I'm a warmonger. Well, you know, this is one of those times where when people think I'm a warmonger, it's like, yeah, I am. I've been raping and pillaging the lands since day one. I am a warmonger, and none of you have stopped me. But in a lot of my games, I typically only go to war in the early stages, or if it's absolutely necessary. I usually play a much more peaceful game, which it has been kind of fun killing, especially without having to worry about war weariness.
Nothing on this earth lasts forever, except maybe plastic.
All right, the spaceport is about to be completed, and there it goes. That is very, very pretty. All right, so now that we've finished that, we can launch our satellite, and that is going to be the thing that propels us into the final stages of the game officially. The hunt for Paris will come to a very quick end as soon as we have vision on the entire planet. And my goodness, is that satisfying. Holy crap, man. Are you guys excited that we're about to win? Especially after, I mean, for anybody that's been around since the first Civilization VI playthrough, when we played as Montezuma and I did a little 75 turn game, that was a ton of fun. And then we picked it up again as England, and that was also a ton of fun, but we lost when we played as England. And when I was playing as Montezuma, I didn't finish the game because, why not? It was just kind of experimenting, you know, learning the ropes pretty much, just trying to get a feel for the game. And now I'm coming in with all my knowledge. I know a lot about Civ. I'm pretty decent at it, if I do say so myself. I'm not half bad. Not half bad at all. And now We're about to win. And damn it, that feels pretty frickin' good. Alright, there's one thing we're going to switch up is a policy for plus 15% production at the cost of 5% gold and plus 1 production from lumber mills. I am at a point now where the only thing I care about really is insane amounts of production, and I'm willing to sacrifice 1 amenity across all my cities in order to do so. Actually, that may not even out. Okay, yeah. So the policy we just let's look at that again. The policy we just shifted to is public transport, and we switched that off from military organization, which was giving us plus 1 amenity from encampments. So some of our cities will go into the negative amenity state, which will reduce their non-food yields by 5%. But this policy is increasing our production by 15%. So it's a net gain in our overall production. We're min-maxing out here. And here's our spy. I totally forgot to resend them to America so we can continue siphoning funds from them. So get your ass back out there. Boom.